thank you all for coming out. My name is Sam Wang, and I'm a neuroscientist at the Neuroscience Institute. I'm just going to say extremely briefly that it's been my pleasure to meet very briefly Erica and Rich Goldman, who came and visited Princeton a few months ago, and I learned about multiple system atrophy. And as a scholar of the cerebellum, I didn't know about the cerebellum. I should just say that this is a strange structure whose role in life changes as we start from infancy and get older. And so when it goes wrong when you're an infant, there's some movement problems, but you also have problems, for instance, autism. And when you're a child, you have difficulties with language. And so its role in our lives changes. And Erica is now inadvertently an expert on what its role is in adult life. And problems in her pons and cerebellum are what have brought us together with these poems. So it's my honor to be here, and I'm going to be directing traffic a little bit. So I will, let's see, so how should we do this? Should we do it here? Because we're going to rotate through here.
There's a podium if you like, if you know, but definitely stand.
Okay, so I will stand in here. Why don't you guys hold on to that so you know, and we're just going to cycle through you, okay? So I will start. These are all poems from Dancing with Ataxia, and I'm going to kick Erica a few times by accident. Sorry. Very comfortable closing this up.
I'm ready. You're quick.
Okay, so we'll each read, and I'm going to read the first poem tonight, and it's called Perfect Pitch. Give me back my voice, the one I hear in my head. The one that still greets you on my answering machine. Clear, nuanced, cultivated, as reliable as Monday following Sunday. Able to search at will from pianissimo to fortissimo. Unique as a signature, recognizable as a face. It's the singing I miss most. Breathing deeply, emitting melody, I sang on pitch. Now not even close, my voice a casualty of my disease. When I try to sing, the cats run from the room. I can't sing, I tell my husband, my voice slurring and cracking from the stress. Welcome to the club, he says, in his habitual off-key baritone, and then silently folds me in his arms. So we have Margaret Moore MIller next. Anywhere.
So this is a poem called Unusual. And these are, like Sam, I've known Erica since I think I was 17 or 18 years old, so it's been a long, long time, along with some of my classmates here. So these are particularly personal for us, along with our dear friend. So this is a poem called Unusual. I've always prided myself on being unusual, sought ways to differentiate myself from my peers. But what I want now, most of all, is to be ordinary, nothing special, to live a normal life, see my kids launched into adulthood, be able to be on the end of a phone line, offering comfort or applause.
Hi, I'm Gabriel, and I just want to start by saying thank you very much for this opportunity to read this poem. It's called This Worry-Free Day. An idle day at the beach with just the right amount of breeze. You eat something unhealthy and delicious, like French fries or fudgesicles, and the ocean feels cold but just right, encrusting your body with a salty glaze and sandy patina as gulls swoop and fuss overhead, eyeing your fries. And maybe you will have thought to bring a book, nothing too deep, or a radio, or a golden retriever glowing red in the sunlight, yearning to chase the waves, but heeding your command to remain sad-eyed by your side. And the person on the towel next to you will be the one with whom you wish to share this worry-free day, the very one.
Suddenly, I'm a weed stuck between cracks in the city pavement, with nothing to do but grieve. Ignored, trampled, hopelessly parched. Still, I believe, despite the beauty my life now lacks, that someday I'll be able to forget these blocking my view. Glimpse sunlight anew, relieve this thirst, this unendurable chill. Call me naive, but someday I'll leave. I will, without glancing back. Please let me be a rose again, smiting men with my bloom. Why I've been dealt this karmic demotion, I haven't a clue. Or maybe I do. For I was vain, lacking grace and devotion, using thorns to condemn those I scorned, causing pain and ugly emotion, never foreseeing this weedy neediness, this waiting for rain.
This is a poem for Francine Ringgold, who maybe we'll find out afterwards who that is. And it's a poem called The Rio Frio, which means the cold river. That is what it means, right? Okay. Okay. On the hottest day in July, when even the cedars are shriveled and scorched, she heads to the river, and there, amidst the boulders, she finds 5 smooth stones, and one by one she skips them with a flick of her tiny wrist, watching them skim through the crystalline water. And though she will grow up and live for many years in faraway cities, she will never forget this perfect afternoon.
A poem for my son, and this is for Zach. I want to write a poem for you. I've written hundreds of poems, but never one like this. It will be the sort of poem others will want to memorize, even if they've never cared for poetry. And in that way, they will surprise themselves. Your poem will be the one they recite when life gets ugly, as it sometimes does. It will be as comforting as a familiar face among a throng of strangers. It will be the sutures that allow recent wounds to heal. It will create calm amid the chatter, clatter, and clutter of everyday life. It will consist of all of your favorite colors. It will be clever, but not too clever. It will make you laugh out loud, yet move you to tears. It will be bold, yet compassionate, as you are, handsome and witty, as you are. This poem I will write for you will be easy to understand, but by no means simple. It will have foreground and backstory, complexity and interest, but even a child will be able to appreciate it, as yours will someday. It will make you, briefly at least, be happy to be alive. It will be complete, unique, unforgettable, inspired, well-loved. This poem I write is you.
Okay, the next one's called 1554.8, and it's for David Prather.
Class of 78.
If you didn't live 1,554.8 miles away, I would bake a bread of the richest, most delicious pumpernickel, sweetened with honey in the bread maker I considered buying, but didn't, having realized as I stood conversing with the apron salesman with thinning hair that I didn't have anyone to bake for, at least no one within driving distance. Although certainly the distance between us is drivable if I spend several days behind the wheel of a car crossing Texas, New Mexico, Arizona, and most of California. Sometime after sunrise, I'd leave the bread, so fragrant, on your doorstep, wrapped in a blue cloth napkin in a wicker basket filled with jams and a carafe of chilled juice squeezed from oranges plucked from a tree in my backyard. If I had an orange tree. Then, enjoying the morning bird song, I'd linger on your top step. Still dawdling, I'd look up, marveling that the trees lining your street from a green canopy, their outstretched branches touching overhead, and that for those trees planted as saplings a century ago, The distance they've traveled through time and space to reach each other exceeds the 1,544.8 miles I would travel across state lines, mountains, ravines, and deserts to your door.
Alchemy at 8 o'clock. Mars Capone. The very word rolls off the tongue like triple creme. Its fresh milk taste all that remains of green grasses, fragrant herbs, and wild flowers ingested by cows grazing in distant pastures shortly before we met. With any luck, I will have transformed the Mars Capone before this night is through into a pick-me-up that will render you speechless. For little did you know that herbs, flowers, grass, and sun could be combined just so with marsala, sugar, eggs, and coca. Not to mention espresso-soaked ladyfingers, caressed by shaved chocolate swirls. Forgive me if I smile, but I've seen this look before. Eyes glazed, expression dazed, by the complex bittersweetness that, like the likes of which your mouth, your heart, has never known. Let this mocha-infused cream, rich as a dream, dispense its magic as I seduce you with my tiramisu. Vieni, vieni, amor mio.
This poem is the title poem, Dancing with Ataxia, and it's for Richard. Is there not poetry in cerebellar ataxia? Words I stumble over even now in my spastic muscle balance challenged, downbeat, nystagmus, neurologically impaired way. Tonight, when you suggested we dance, I felt something like hope, for haven't we danced in the face of every other catastrophe? You'd spin me out and back in your embrace, we'd glide across the floor, beaming, breathless, forgetting what worries we'd had. These days, I'm leaden of foot, woozy of head, as alien to myself as a Martian. Neurological signals are not getting through, so I trample your feet, unable to follow your lead. When you spin me, I fly across the room out of control and fail to return to the orbit of your arms, like a planet, forgetting how to circle the sun.
Wimberley. On hot days, you could find him down by the river and up a tree, enjoying its cool. If she stood on tiptoe, arms stretched skyward, and he reached his hands through the branches, he could lift her into the leafy treehouse where they'd be hidden from view. Too young to work, too old to play, they'd stare at each other wordlessly, smiling like maniacs, eating green grapes. A breeze lifting the damp hair off their foreheads, arousing in them a restlessness they didn't yet understand. That boy is dead now, the tree too. Today by the river, even the wind is still.
Simple math. If I lose my ability to speak 3 times faster than I lose my ability to write, but 10 times faster than I lose my ability to think, how long will it take me before I lose what makes me me? How many years? How many months until I become completely disabled by this disease? How shall I spend my days? At what point will I forget how to breathe? At what point will my heart cease to beat?
Riddle of the Sphinx. She lives in a room overlooking the weather turrets of the Museum of Natural History, which, Sphinx-like, harbors answers to many riddles. Some nights she wanders until closing time, talking to no one, as though lost in prayer, past prehistoric sea creatures encased under circular sharks, through granite halls of minerals and gems. She startles when the Australopithecus man meets her gaze. Although his expression is fierce, he drapes his arm around his woman as they traverse a post-volcanic plain. Approaching the skeletal Tyrannosaurus rex and long-necked Apatosaurus, Past all that is past, having fled her past, she considers the present. How the museum is like a friend in this new to her city. How she'll find someone to drape his arm around her. How tomorrow she will buy a telephone.
Applied physics. Richard, my favorite dancing partner. Everyone knows that a body in motion tends to stay in motion, moving through space at the same speed and in the same direction, unless knocked off course by an unbalanced force. So take a chance and let us dance across the floor. I know. I hate following your lead just as much as you hate me treading on your shoes when I misconstrue your cues to stop, step, spin, and change direction. It isn't just a matter of moving in unison to a beat. No, dancing has meant that when you wish to advance, I must retreat. Tango, foxtrot, salsa, waltz make you believe, though this is false, you might one day control me with the pressure of your hand on the small of my back. Such are the laws of motion. And what of the laws of emotion? Whereas when a single stray step or hurtful remark can send us careening out of each other's arms and into an abyss so dark, no kiss can dissipate the ensuing chaos. Where for every action there is an equal and opposite reaction. I've considered dancing alone when we're apart, but can't overcome life's gravity. So listen as I make this confession. To rumba with you is worth some concessions. I'll even vow to make amends. If you lead, I will follow. At least until the music ends.
This poem is called Moonrise Katahdin. I sleep on the ground, body supine, on a mattress of pine needles overlain with crumpled flannel shirts. Gazing up through spruce boughs and spider silk, I lament all my life lacks, all that I seek, as Abenaki spirits whisper words new to my ears. Listen. Tonight, the stars play a symphony so lyrical, so tender, its rhythms seep into my being. My heart will never be the same. Moonlight shimmers and flickers, teasing me with its silvery light, calling Omki, wake up, and Uajemi, kiss me. All I want is to be held in a lunar embrace, right here, right now, under a sky of limitless possibilities.
Facets. When it came time to decide whether to bury or burn him, I recalled my brother as a young boy before he lost his way in a maze of mental illness, when he and I would build a small fire after school in a circle of rocks under the arching tree behind our house. We'd tear off branches, sharpen them to points, load on marshmallows, and hold the sticks over the dancing flames, letting the puffs of sweetness cinder beyond all recognition. Look how the fire flickers, he'd say. Let's dance like the fire. And I'd clap my hands and laugh. We hadn't talked in years, my brother and I, not since he threw me against a wall in an inexplicable rage. But he called me on the morning of his death. We spoke of the sweetness of those long ago marshmallows, wondering what had become